We're going to start off with a painting from the year 945 AD. It's called Moralia in Job. I'm going to zoom in on it in a second. Let's read this real quick. The Moralia in Job of 945 is an illuminated manuscript of 502 bound folios containing the text of Commentary on Job by Gregory the Great. A colophon on the verso of its folio 500 shows its copying and illumination was completed on April 11th, 945 by one Florentius in the monastery of Valerenica in what is now the town of Tortomar in Spain. Florentius is also known as the artist and copyist of other important Spanish manuscripts of this era, including the Leon Bible of 960. The manuscript was later moved to the library of Toledo Cathedral, where its annotations in Arabic were added. It remained there until it was moved in 1869 to its present home in the Biblioteca Nacional de España, where it is cataloged as MS-80. So I'm going to zoom in on it. The caption says, Christ in Majesty, down here at the bottom. And as you can see, this is Christ right here in the middle. He has two angels, one on each side and two at the top. These are cherubim, if I'm not mistaken. And as you can see, Christ himself is black, undeniably and unmistakably black. So are the two angels on his side, two angels up top, even the one down here. And you can kind of see the two angels on his side, they kind of have like little afro hairstyles. Now, this was painted in 945, the year 945, Spain. So a question I always like to ask is if the Spanish Jewish population or the Jewish population in Spain was known to be white or Caucasian, and if it was a known fact that Jews were Caucasian and white in that area or even worldwide, why would the painters go against reality and paint Christ black when he himself is a Jew? Europeans aren't known for creating fake black images, but they are known for whitewashing other images, creating whitewashed versions or just creating white images. With that being said, let's move on, and we are going to get more into whitewashing and iconoclasm in just a little bit. The first book we're going to be looking at is called Modern History, or the Present State of All Nations, describing their respective situations, persons, habits, and buildings, and so on. Published in 1731. This is volume 13 by Thomas Salmon. And we're going to be on page 48. I'm going to zoom in. Let's start right here, just to see what he's talking about. In the squares and great streets of Madrid, Madrid is a city in Spain, are several noble fountains adorned with statues or groups of figures. And let's scroll down a little bit. Let's start again right here. To the nave of the church there joins a chapel, which has no other light but what it receives from 100 gold and silver lamps, which burn night and day. And it says right here, the Church of Our Lady Atocha. Here we find a black image of the Blessed Virgin with the little Jesus in her arms, to which many miracles are ascribed. So what the writer here is saying is that in Madrid, Spain, there is an image, a black image of Mary and Jesus. This was in the year 1731. I'm sure it was painted long before then. But right now I'm just showing that black images of Christ and his mother existed in Spain and also other parts of Europe. Now, in the first part of the presentation, I showed a comment from somebody who was, giving their opinion on the information that I was sharing in a group on Facebook. Here's another comment from somebody else. We'll just call him Andre because that's his first name. Andre is I don't know how else to put this, but he's pretty much a racist Christian. He's of European descent, Caucasian, but that's neither here nor there. I'm just, showing these comments as a learning experience type of thing, like how I said before, just to show the type of things people will say when you find this information so that you know how to deal with it and how to not let it sway you one way or another. Just stick to the facts. So after Andre saw that book in the Facebook group, he commented and said, "Black is referring to color of the artistic rendering and medium alone. It doesn't refer to Negro attributes." We're going to deal with this Negro word in a little bit too, but for now, let's just keep going. No Christians were having images of Negroes. There is an extensive record of images in the church through all centuries in different locations, and they are not Negro. Black doesn't equal Negro. Greeks used to also make black statues as well as a matter of artistic expression, not black as in Negro, but color. The color and word black is not limited to Negroes. There is so much evidence and proof of this that finding an isolated word or expression in the book can't change it. So, like I said, we're going to deal with the Negro word in just a second and its, usages. But we can clearly see that once evidence of black images or black descriptions get brought out, people who don't like the information or who don't want us to subscribe to it, they try to, they do what you're seeing here. They try to box us in. They try to move the goalpost. They'll try to box you in with words like Negro to take away from the fact that these images depict black people. I also wanted to point out how he said Greeks used to make black statues as a matter of artistic expression. Those black statues and paintings where the Greeks depicted black people, those were actual black people. We know this because they also depicted white people in the same painting. You know what I mean? So, but that's neither here nor there. But let's just keep in mind what Andre said here, because we're gonna see it's like a theme that goes on with this description of black Jews, especially in Spain and Portugal. The next book we're going to be in is called Letters from Portugal, Spain, Italy, and Germany in the years 1759, 1760, and 1761 by Hervey Christopher, published in 1785. We're going to start on page 314. You can see it says Loreto, Saturday. Now, Loreto's a little town in Italy, but this is still relevant. Let's see why. He says, "I arrived yesterday at this place and shall leave it tomorrow." So I start on page 314 to show where he is. Loreto, Italy. We're going to go down to page 319. And let's see what he's talking about. He's talking about a church. We're going to start here. "The other division was principally occupied by an image of the Virgin Mary, clothed with the most transcendent finery," I think that word is, "and blazing with all manner of the richest jewels. But what surprised me was to see her face as black as ebony, nor do I know why they have changed her countenance to that of a Negro." So we can see that this painting of Mary in Italy, the writer says that she was a Negro. She looked like a Negro. So that just goes to show that you can't let people box you in with words like Negro and, other red herring typological fallacies when dealing with this information. This is important because once you come into this truth and you find this information, people are going to try to convince you that what you're seeing and reading isn't what you're seeing and reading. Okay? And when you read on, this author explains how shocked he was because he had never seen a black image of Mary before, and he couldn't understand why she was painted that way. But we're going to read on and see what other documents from history say about black images. This next book is called Liberal Review, an organ of the Independent Thinkers of America, Volume 3. Let me blow it up real quick so you can get a look at the cover. By Mangasar, Mugurditch, Mangasarian, published in 1906. We're going to be on page 478. I'm going to zoom in. We'll just get straight to the point. "As further evidence that the word Christ is carrying out the Krishna idea, it is stated on what I regard as first-class authority that his first pictures represent him as being black. The authority referred to is Higgins. In his immortal work, The Anacalypsis, the author states that in churches and cathedrals in Italy and adjoining countries, which would include Spain, Portugal, he found a half dozen or more black images of Christ. So the fact that there are black images of Christ and Mary in Europe, it's not some unknown or obscure type of thing, especially to people outside of America. It's usually just Americans like Andre who are bubbled in and not able to accept this information when they find out about it, or they try to make excuses as to why the black isn't really what we're seeing or talking about. But regardless, I felt like that was a good spot to start off because it shows black images existing in Spain, other places in Europe where Jews were known to be. And if the Jews weren't black or known to be black, why paint them black? Is what I'm saying. Mary was a Jew, Christ was a Jew. Even if Jews didn't accept Christ at that time period, non-Jews knew what Jews looked like. So it wouldn't make sense for them to go against reality and paint them as something that they're not.